The gentlelady from New Mexico, Ms. Leger Fernandez.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Secretary Walsh, for being the Secretary during the time when we've had the greatest job growth of any president and in history, at the same time that we have brought down the deficit. So this has been both a fiscally responsible administration as well as one dedicated to increasing jobs in America. I also want to thank you for the work you've done in terms of increasing wages of our workers and protecting our workers, because that's what we're about. We're about increasing the money that our working families get to take home, as well as creating opportunities. I appreciated your emphasis on the manner in which we are creating opportunities for our working families. I want to talk a bit about the concept of protecting our workers. I know we have money in the budget, if you've seen, for protecting miners. As you know, and this is something of importance to me because of historical mining and the lack of protections that we did historically for uranium miners. These workers, many of whom are Latino and Native American, toiled away for national security, but then suffered from cancers and other serious illnesses. We did pass the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act and the Energy Employees Occupational Illness Compensation Program Act, but unfortunately, both of these laws left out many who suffered, and that includes uranium miners who worked after 1971, as well as core drillers and DOE remediation workers. We know that these workers fell ill precisely because of their job. Secretary Walsh, would you agree that it's important that the government provide assistance to these individuals, just as it does to others who worked in the uranium industry?
Yeah, I think we have to be very supportive and helpful in any way we can. And just to your earlier point about some of the safety, mine safety, we're seeing an increase in fatalities in mines this year. We had a meeting with some of the major mining companies in America to talk about sharing best practices moving forward. We want to try and get ahead of this because we have seen an increase of fatalities. And then obviously when you think of the other diseases, black lung, silica, all the things that we're dealing with, those challenges always remain there.
Thank you very much. I have the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act of 2021 to make sure we capture all of these uranium miners who are now receiving compensation. I also then want to turn to another, since we're on miners and other energy industries like coal and that have and oil and gas that have basically kept the lights on at home. They've fueled American business and innovation for decades. But as market forces shift, the landscape of energy generation, they also deserve opportunities, and we want to diversify our economy and grow local, good-paying union jobs. And I really appreciate your budget request of $100 million to provide employment and training assistance to workers in communities facing job losses related to the extraction of fossil fuels or energy production. I similarly urged appropriations to include robust funding for this program in fiscal year 23. What's the department currently doing to assist workers in these communities?
I mean, I think as we think about the transitioning, one is making sure that we're getting prepared to, even in a faster pace, transition workers from the fossil fuel industry into other industries. And part of that is through our workforce development. Part of that's through the efforts of pre-apprenticeship, apprenticeship programs, and also working very closely with the White House in the Department of Energy and Department of Commerce as we transition out of these industries.
Right. And do you see these new jobs as also being good-paying union jobs as they might have been good-paying jobs in the fossil fuel
Well, I think they need to be. I think that when you think about these industries, I think that when people are transitioning from one industry to another, we can't transition somebody from being a coal miner who's works hard every day, goes down 600 feet underground, 4 miles out in a tunnel, and then all of a sudden, when their industry isn't there, expect them to be paid less money working at a solar plant. I mean, we have to make sure these are good-paying jobs in the green economy.
And how would continued funding of the programs that you have help serve these communities and these workers?
Well, I think that we have to continue to fund these programs and then at some point actually look to expand some of these programs as well, because as we think about dislocated workers, we're going to see larger numbers as time goes on. I mean, as with these industries, as we get greener and cleaner, we're going to start to see these industries changing faster. So now is the time to lay down the foundation for that, and really focus in certain parts of the country where mining is a big issue, and making sure that those, like West Virginia, making sure the workers in West Virginia are not left with nothing, that they have something to really think about raising their families. You're talking intergenerational families that have been working in these industries.
Thank you, and I really did appreciate you going to one of those orphan rallies where we will have good paying jobs as we clean up those environments. So thank you very much, Secretary Walsh.
Thank you.